Hello, and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick, with the City of Hampton's Communications and Marketing Department. And today we're going to meet two young people who are actively involved in their city government and learn a little bit more about who they are and what they do. My guests today are Chyna Matheny. Welcome, Chyna.
Hello.
And Christopher Hurt. Welcome. You guys are more involved in the city than a lot of adults are. And so I'm going to start out by asking you to tell me, each of you, a little bit about yourself and why you really wanted to get involved in government. And Chyna, I'm going to let you go first. You're the most experienced one here.
All right. I'm Chyna Matheny. I got involved with the job because I have concerns about, youth-related topics in Hampton. So I thought it would be really cool if I'm in a role where I can actually have action on what happens in Hampton regarding youth.
And you are the senior youth planner now.
Yes.
So you're starting year 2 of being involved. Mm-hmm. Tell us what high school you go to.
I go to Phoebus High School.
Yay, Phoebus. Mm-hmm. And what are your interests? What do you think you might want to do next year in college or in the long term?
I'm very into photography and fashion. I've been thinking about doing like modeling. So.
Great. Okay. And Christopher, you stepped up this year. What encouraged you to get involved?
I've been seeing the city the way it is. I've grown up here my whole life, and I don't really have any plans on moving. And so I think this might be like a place where my kids would grow up. And so I kind of want to help it grow in a more youth-friendly way.
That is wonderful. And where do you go to school?
I go to school at Hampton Christian.
And what year are you?
I will be a junior this year.
Okay. And what do you think, is this a career path for you? Are you interested in government as a career, or you just want to make your impact?
I kind of just want to make my impact right now.
Okay.
I kind of want to go into culinary arts.
Aha.
Yep.
Okay. Well, there's a great program at Phoebus for that, So let's talk a little bit about what you do. Why does the city hire youth planners? And again, I'm going to start with you, Chyna, because you've done this for a whole year. This is year 2 for you. Mm-hmm. What kinds of things do you do?
Well, the program was started in 1996, and it was started so that young people have an opportunity to be engaged. It's youth civic engagement was a very big thing that we want to get young people involved in local government. So what's really cool about the youth planner position is we work in City Hall, and it's really cool to have an office and be treated like an adult. Just as the other people on the same floor are. So I think it's a really cool opportunity. We work with the Hampton Youth Commission, which is a youth board appointed by City Council. And what they do is they work for youth-related topics also. So with that, we assist them in their work, and then we also assist the Community Development Department.
Okay. And I know, too, Hampton has won a lot of awards for civic engagement overall, but specifically for the youth program. Mm-hmm. Internationally recognized by Foundation in Germany, and encouraging this has been a huge focus of Hampton's. Mm-hmm. Also, you are learning skills. I have seen you present at Planning Commission, and Planning Commission is not a meeting that most adults go to. It can be very technical sometimes, but those processes are so important to getting things done. Mm-hmm. What was it like for you the first time you stepped up to the podium and you're addressing the Planning Commission and you're on TV and there's cameras on you? What was that like?
The very first time I got very nervous, but as you start doing it over and over, I know I've become a little more comfortable talking to them because we have a really great relationship with Planning Commission. And I think it's important because youth civic engagement focuses on youth sharing leadership and building those adult-youth relationships. So I think it's important that the Planning Commission, when we report to them, that we have that kind of bond with them. So it's getting better. I'm not as nervous as I was at first. So.
They seem very polite and very encouraging. I mean, as I've listened to some of those reports, I thought, and you get a lot of questions. I mean, people really want to know, well, what do you think about this? Or why did you study that? Or why did you look at that?
Yeah, they're very interested in the work that the young people do, especially the Hampton Youth Commission. They ask us a lot to attend our events and things like that, and they have attended our events. So it's great to see the Planning Commission with the Hampton Youth Commission events. So it's cool.
And so there's that tie-in. But Christopher, your job is a little bit different. You work with...
I work with the Neighborhood Commission.
And what have you been, and I know you're just starting, really, you've been doing it for about a month, but what are the expectations that you have for the position, and what are the expectations that you think the Neighborhood Commission has for you?
Well, my job is kind of to serve as like staff support to the Neighborhood Commission, and there are 2 youth commissioners that will be serving on the Neighborhood Commission this year, and so I'm kind of going to be support for them too.
So what kinds of things do you think it's important for the Neighborhood Commission to look at or think about when it comes to the youth perspective? More like growing the city in the long term. I mean, is it programs for youth right now, or is it the city you want to see Hampton become later?
I think more importantly is the long term.
So making sure that Hampton grows into the kind of city with the jobs and the development and the arts or the social events or whatever it is you guys want to see.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to ask you each, and I'm going to give you a second to think about it, but why do you love Hampton? What is it about Hampton that makes you want to be involved, want to stay here, want to see it get better? Or whatever it is you want to see. Maybe it's something different. Chyna, do you want to go first?
I think it's a very beautiful city with a lot of potential. I take a lot of pictures, so I do go downtown and take a lot of pictures, and we have very beautiful buildings. The architecture of it, the history is really very nice. I visited the Hampton History Museum the other day, and I never ever went before, and I thought it was a really cool place.
It's kind of amazing. Once you get inside, it feels bigger and completely different than it looks on the outside.
Yep.
Okay, Christopher, what about you?
I agree with Chyna, and I see a lot of potential in Hampton. Just the neighboring cities have a lot of tourist places, and one day I see Hampton becoming a great tourist spot with like Buckrow and other parks like that.
That's great. What else do you kind of want to do? How does this fit into school? I mean, how do you have time to work part-time and go to high school? Because it's really kind of a big job.
Well, I think it's all about time management, knowing your priorities. School will always be a priority, but managing what tasks need to be done first. So if you have a big project coming up, whether it be school or work, knowing you need to get that project done or get that task done before you go out and have fun.
You haven't been through this yet, but you will.
I have not. I'm looking forward to it in a strange way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, now I'm going to ask you also, this is a little bit harder, but we have been hearing a lot the past couple of months about youth violence, and although the crime rate overall is down in Hampton, a little bit of a spike in murders and shootings, and young people are getting a bad rap right now. Obviously, it's not all young people. You guys are not involved, but how does that make you feel when your generation, your compatriots are having a tough time, and it's just a different scenario right now?
I think it is very hard because, as you said, it's not us, but a lot of times people who aren't even doing it, they get pushed under that category of doing it. So when you think about youth, sometimes people think automatically of the violent part.
Yeah.
And it kind of just, it's hard for somebody who's not under that to be called that, and then they're like, no, that's not us. But when you already have that stereotype in your mind, it's hard to break away from that.
Mm-hmm. What do you see?
Well, I've always been like the quiet kid who's not really the normal kid. So whenever anyone sees me and talks about me to my parents, they're like, your kid's not normal. He's not the normal teenager, not the normal kid. So I agree with Chyna. It's hard for someone like me to be put into that stereotype of violent and everything like that.
But do you see in any of your friends or your peer group people who maybe aren't violent yet but are in tough family situations or tough economic situations where some of the trouble comes from?
I definitely can see it, but I know a lot of the people I know don't look for it, so they're trying to get away from it, and I think there's a lot of programs out there that are really good for that. And you have the guidance office at your school and different, that's why I think it's very important that we have that adult-youth relationship, because if youth and adults can cooperate together in a good manner, then those youth who are having those problems can seek an adult who can really help them get out of that situation.
Well, and a lot of times we hear about mentoring, that for particularly teens who are not from intact families or maybe don't have a role model or one parent who's working a lot of hours, having a mentor can make a huge amount of difference. And you guys have a lot of mentors. I mean, you have a whole planning commission full and you have a whole neighborhood commission full. How does that make a difference in your lives?
I think mentoring always helps. I was a mentor to a freshman student once, and I could definitely tell the difference between what I was making of them. And I think even the community development department we work in, all of those adults I can go to, talk to, ask them questions, whether it's school, whether it's family, whether it's anything. I know I can talk to them.
Okay. And what about you, Christopher?
I have some mentors and that aren't family, friends. And I know that it's really encouraging to be able to go to someone who's not family, who doesn't know exactly what you're going through, but they can provide a fresh perspective on what you've been seeing.
That's good. And I think what Chyna said is also important too, in that you are also mentors to other teens. That sometimes adults think, oh, it takes an adult, but you guys who are successful and involved and learning new things and going in a positive direction can also provide that inspiration maybe for kids who are a little younger than you who might be needing a little bit of support right now.
And I think that's one thing that the Hampton Youth Commission is important for, because they are a youth body that represents young people. And so when you hear that a young person is doing this, then I feel like teens will be more comfortable and more willing to do something if another young person is doing it. So I think that definitely is one of the Hampton Youth Commission things.
Okay. Is there anything I've forgotten to ask you guys that you want to add?
I was going to add the upcoming work for the Hampton Youth Commission.
Okay.
What we have is a youth component, and we're looking to complete the process. It's a youth component update process. And
update for?
The youth component, which is a section of the community plan.
Gotcha, okay.
So what this is, there's a process, the same process that was used to update the community plan in 2010, and we held a kickoff meeting. And what was cool about this process is we held focus groups too, so young people were able to give their input. And what the Hampton Youth Commission is doing now is taking all that information, and we're going to edit and revise the document. Another thing that the Hampton Youth Commission has done is the Youth-Friendly Event Guidebook. And this is also going to be edited again and brought to the public for stakeholders. And what it is it's a source for the community to use, nonprofit organizations also to use, for hosting a event that will attract youth. And it's just a guidebook of different tips and all that for things you wouldn't do or things you would do to get teens to come to your event. And What else are we working on?
Sounds like you guys stay very busy.
Yes, there's a lot. We also, we had our retreat in the summer and a boot camp. The boot camp prepares you for the retreat. And what was cool about this retreat is Debbie Russell, the the Teen Center director, came and she gave us the opportunity to state what we would like to see at the Teen Center. So we came up with this big list, and the Hampton Youth Commission was very excited, and we came up with different ideas that could be seen at the Teen Center. And it was just really cool to give her this list and knowing that these things are potential ideas that we can see at the Teen Center.
That's great. And I think that's one of the challenges too with the youth involvement is the youth 5 years ago are the ones who developed the programs that we have today, and you guys need to continually fine-tune those as the needs of teenagers change to make sure that everything stays relevant to the folks who are around today. Well, I really want to thank you guys for the work you do for the city and for the example you set. And I know that teens get a bad reputation far too often now, and it's important to highlight the successes and not just look at the problems of your generation. So thank you. Thank you very much for coming and sharing with us. And thank you for listening. I hope that you're as inspired by what these teenagers are doing as I am, and that you'll stick around and learn more about them. Thank you.